Hey everybody, it's me, Jose Segura, your SMEEA president. Welcome to another episode of Fireside Chat with the President. It's good to see you all. Happy Friday. This is, October 15th, so we're halfway through the month of October. I know it seems like the month just started, but boom, we're barreling through. All right, we only got a couple of things for you today, so let's get started. First thing, let's talk about sick days. Now, you got an email yesterday from Bijou Beltran that gave you some information about the usage of your sick days, so I just really want to kind of piggyback on that. I get a lot of calls and emails and texts every year about the use of sick days. And so I wanted to really kind of just take a couple of minutes and go through a few things. So let's start with the basics. First of all, sick days. Everything is a sick day. So when we get our 10 sick days a year, those sick days are also used for discretionary days and personal necessity days, as well as sick days for yourself or someone in your immediate family, right? Taking your child to the dentist or going to see the doctor or whatever it is you have to do. So even though there's different labels for different types of leave, they're all really sick days. Now, the ones that are not sick days are things like bereavement and stuff like that. So bereavement comes from a separate batch. Those do not count against you when you use bereavement. They're not taken from your cache of sick days. The other thing we want to talk about is ownership. The state defines your sick days as your personal property. It's something that you have, it belongs to you. And so because it's your personal property, you can use it the way in which you see fit. And this is something that Ms. Beltran was getting to in the email that she sent out yesterday, or that we sent out yesterday, right? It's that there are different ways to use and access your sick time. Oftentimes folks believe that they have to use full sick days, and that's not accurate. You can use sick days in much smaller increments if you need to. So for example, if you only need an hour or an hour and a half to go run a personal errand, visit a doctor, go sign some documents, go to a presentation at your child's school, they're getting an award or something, then you can use these smaller amounts of time. And the way you would do that is start with frontline. So when you go into frontline and you are entering your absence, there is an option under the time. There's the half day, full day, but there's also custom. If you click on custom, you can literally put in the time that you need to leave your site and the time that you will be returning to the site. And so you can really specify the amount of time that you need away from the job. Now, so why is that important? Well, I'm looking at this as a kind of a three-way win. What's happening right now is I need a sick day. Let's say I just take half a day. Really all I need is an hour for a doctor's appointment, but I've been taking a half day because I didn't know that I could do it in smaller increments, right? So what does that mean? That means the district has to get a sub, somebody to come in and work for half a day to be me, right? If they can't find someone, my admin or someone else is stepping in and being me for that half a day. And so it costs me a half a day, and it involves other people to come in and either like my principal or someone else to be me, or using a sub that might be used someplace else. But if I only need the 1 hour and I put in the front line that I just need the 1 hour from, let's say, 9 to 10 o'clock, and I have a conversation with my administrator about just needing that 1 hour, a couple of things might happen. One, at the minimum, I'm going to use 1 hour of my sick time in order to go against the hour that I'm going to be gone. My administrator knows that I only need a sub for an hour, so they might be able to come in for just that 1 hour, cover me, and then go back to their other responsibilities once I return. And the district doesn't have to worry about getting a sub to come in to work a half a day for somebody like me who only needs the 1 hour, right? So it's kind of a win-win there. Now, the third win comes in having that conversation with your administrator before you enter your absence into frontline, and letting them know, hey, I only need the 1 hour. We do have language in our contract that allows us to be away from the job for about an hour, as long as it doesn't interfere with our ability to fulfill our duties when it comes to being a teacher. And so if my administrator is willing to come in and fill in for me for that 1 hour, it doesn't go against my sick days, so that's one win. I can keep all my sick time. The second win is my administrator knows that they're only going to fill in for me for an hour instead of the whole half a day. And then the third win is we don't get some other sub from the district to come in to work a half a day. Instead, that sub can be reallocated to a site where that member really needs the whole half a day or the whole day away from the site for whatever the reason is. And so really think about how you use your sick time, because it's yours. And you want to use it in the same way you would spend money or anything else that belongs to you, right? You kind of use it judiciously, use it when you need it, and make sure that you have it when you need it. And there's lots of other reasons too, like you could cash it in when you retire and all kinds of other stuff. But for the right now, it's really about using it in a way that makes the most sense to you, so that you're not burning it up, and that you have it when there is an episode or an incident in your life where you really do need sick time to be away from the job, whether it's your illness or injury or illness to a member of your family or some other major event that occurs that requires you to be away from the job. So think about how you use your sick days. If you have questions or you have concerns, you're not sure how this works, contact Ms. Beltran, contact me. We'll be more than happy to help walk you through it. And all the administrators of the sites have been made aware of this. They've got the same email that you did, and they're being communicated to by district to let them know that to work with you to try and utilize sick day or not utilize sick day, but allow you time away from the job in these really short increments so that it doesn't impact them as much, it doesn't impact you as much, and it doesn't impact the subs that are available to us as much, all right? So I really appreciate you all thinking about that and really using your sick days in a way that makes the most sense to you for your actual needs. I guess it kind of goes without saying that if you can transact whatever it is that you need to do outside of the workday, that you try and schedule it that way instead of during the day, so that you don't need to have a sub or be away from the site. But I get it, stuff happens when it happens, and I know right now some of us are getting doctor's appointments whenever we can, right? We're not really in charge of any of that, and so do the best you can to utilize your sick days in a way that allows you to maximize them as opposed to burning through them more quickly than maybe you need to. Okay, great. Second thing I have for you today, we're starting a new segment, and this new segment is all about getting to know your SMEEA leaders. Like, you all hear from me all the time, maybe just way too much. But who you don't hear from, you don't really know a lot about, are the other folks that work with me, that we work collaboratively to run our union. So the entire executive board, your vice president, your treasurer, your secretary, your grievance chair, your negotiations chair. And so what we're doing is we're starting a new segment called Get to Know a SMEEA Leader. And we're going to start this series off. We'll have one 5-minute interview with a SMEEA leader every week for the next 8 weeks. And we're going to start off with First Vice President Kristen Lore. Hey, everybody. I'm here with Kristen Lore. Hey, Kristen, how's it going?
Awesome.
Hey,
good afternoon.
Hey, thanks for taking time to share a little bit about yourself with our members. This is awesome. I think they're really going to appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with, who are you and what do you do? Let's start with, who are you for the district, and what do you do for the district?
So Kristen Lore, and for the district, I'm post at Ontiveros Elementary School. It's my 4th year here. I have a rather fun science background in biology, agriculture, and education. So I came here 2 years ago to be the STEAM Science Lab TOSA, and basically had a science lab every week for every student from 3rd to 6th grade. 6th grade every other week to fit them in. So I came to do that, and I found myself now in 3rd grade. So my TOSA position was no longer available, so I was able to stay on site as 5th grade last year, and this year 3rd grade. It's my 23rd year in the district.
Wow. 3rd
and
grade. I love 3rd grade. That was my favorite.
I've taught at Alvin and Taylor, and the most lengthy part of my experience was at Taylor.
Oh, awesome. So you've been in the district for quite a while, and 3rd grade is one of my favorites. So I think that's awesome that you're teaching 3rd grade. It was my first assignment ever. All right. So tell us briefly, what is your role with SMEEA? What's your position currently?
Well, currently I am in the first vice president position. So I help out with Jose with the agendas, meetings, and anytime he has to step in or out, I'm there for that. I represent SMEEA at the LMC board, which is Labor Management Council, where we bring things before management that need to be worked out, clarified, ironed out. And sometimes they don't get ironed out and we have to take them a little further. So bit of a historian on SMEEA. I remember way back when, and I'm in contact with some of the past presidents. And sometimes when we have questions, we go back and dig into some history and find out. But as first vice president, I support whatever Jose basically needs me to do and sit on committees.
That's awesome. And so let's get a little information about who is Kristen Lore. So who is Kristen Lore? What does she like to do with her free time? Where's she from? How did she end up here in Santa Maria Bonita School District?
Well, my first identity is in a higher power. And my second identity is that of a wife and teacher. And recently, in the last 10 years, I've become a nana to a freshman on cross country at St. Joe's, and to adorable little guys that are really busy with Pop Warner football. So that's fun to see some of my students playing in the teams against them. And so going to football games is fun. Outside of work, have a ranch in northeastern Shasta County, and working on a cabin that was burned 5 years ago and rebuilding it from lava rock that was 7-foot walls. We went a little bit higher than that. It's very rustic, no electricity, no running water. So we park our RV up there.
You're off the grid.
Yep, off the grid. I love to kayak and hike. Hiking has been kind of not so much hiking lately, but kayaking when I can, and of course camping, taking adventures. Kayak adventures are pretty fun.
That's awesome.
List. Yeah.
Kristen's definitely an outdoorsy person, which I just love about her. That every chance that she gets to be outside and do outdoor adventures, she's all over it. So I just think that's awesome. So I have one more thing for you before we wrap this up. There's folks out there who ask me all the time, like, how do I have the time to do what I do? And fortunately now I'm full-time release, but even back when I was teaching part-time and, running the union part-time, it was a lot of work. Right. And so the question is, well, why do you do it? Right? Why do you do this stuff? And I know folks like you, Kristen, and the rest of our members of our executive board, you guys are teaching full-time. And so you are really, stepping up to be members of our executive board and to represent teachers really on your own time. So the question is, why do you do it?
Well, I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't feel like there was a solid foundation and a base behind me. And the first base that I love to refer to is the contract. The contract says what it says. And I feel like that gives me my push, my structure to where I can have a voice for other people. So I do it because I'm still unsure about things, and we still have a thread that we talk to each other. How's this sound? What does this sound like to you? But we go back to the contract. So I really appreciate the fact that the history in Santa Maria Bonita School District has had sound, teacher-centered contracts, teacher-centered work. And I feel like when it gets askew and it gets away from the whole focus on kids and our families, that I can use my voice for that. And I wouldn't be able to feel as strong about being able to speak up for those that do not feel like they have as strong a voice, maybe do not feel like they have it. My pen is not as strong as other executive board members have a wonderful pen for their voice. So I feel what makes me do it is because fairness and positivity and looking for the greater good is all of who I am. And if I feel that people aren't being treated fairly and we're not working on goals for the greater good, then I feel the need to speak up. My father spoke up a long time ago when he announced that California schools would no longer support corporal punishment. I remember having to be really quiet in our kitchen one morning when he had a call from the White House. And we had to be really quiet. And he was like, yes, Mr. President. Yes, Mr. President. That's our position. Yes, Mr. President. And that was the end of the call. But it was all about when he was on the board for CTA. It was actually before he was the board, he was doing state council like you are, Jose. Yeah. And his committee had jointly agreed to no longer have corporal punishment in schools in California. So when I heard that voice that you can even speak to the president about what's right and wrong, it was, I guess, part of the household I lived in growing up too.
That's an amazing story. And I got to tell you, I think most of us who choose to serve have some kind of a history of service in our family, whether it's our aunts or uncles or parents or grandparents. And so just to see the continuation of that lineage within folks, I think is amazing. Hey, Kristen, thank you so much for spending some time with us and for sharing a little bit about yourself with our membership. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jose. And you're so awesome too. It's such a pleasure to be on this executive board. We have such great differences and strengths, and it all makes it great.
Awesome.
All of those components.
We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Awesome. So like I said, this is the first in a series of 8. So over the next 7 additional Fireside Chats, you'll get to hear these short interviews with other SMEEA leaders. Next week, we're gonna interview Second Vice President Marissa Feely, and then after that, sorry, not next week, but the next Fireside Chat will be with Marissa Feely, and so please stay tuned for that. And really, that's all I have for you, except I do want to remind you about the CTA Upcoming Conferences. We talked about that at the last Fireside Chat. So if you want to go down to go to the email this video was attached to, go down to the bottom, you'll see links to upcoming CTA conferences. Some of them are free because they're virtual or they're home editions. Others of them are actually going to be in person. If you'd like to attend an in-person CTA conference, there's a link in the email that this video was attached to in that segment on, that section on CTA conferences. You click on that, tell us who you are and what you want to go to, and we will make sure that we can help you make arrangements to cover your costs, registration, lodging, transportation, and things like that. Because we want to get you all to these conferences. As long as it's safe and you feel comfortable going, we want to make sure that we get as many members as we can to these events. All right? All right, that's all I got for you. Hey, have a great weekend. The weather is amazing. I know there's lots of craziness going on with fires and stuff, but right now the weather is just crazy warm. So please get out and enjoy it if that's what brings you joy, or whatever else it happens to be that you have that in your life, whether it's gardening or cooking or sleeping or binge watching or whatever brings you joy. Spend some time doing it this weekend. Thanks, everybody.